I'm stepping out from it's like a pyramid, but it's not so high. There is like a altar in front of me. So it's like I am some kind of priest or something.
So you're coming out of the an entrance or an exit in a pyramid onto a big dais, you says?
It's an open place up on the pyramid, almost like they have in South America.
Okay.
And there are many people down on the ground level
Oh,
looking
very
at.
good. And just look at yourself. How is your form?
Um, I'm feeling really strong. I'm feeling tall and muscular, but not fat, just very strong. And I have a robe with a hood on my head. And it's a long, wide robe in a very nice dark blue color. And it's inlay of gold in it. It's really beautiful robe.
Beautiful. And look at your feet and your hands and your skin color. Describe all three.
On my feet I have some kind of moccasins made out of leather or some kind of smooth skin. And then the robe is over the rest of my body, and I'm very dark in my skin, very dark brown.
And if you
And
had to grab something, I'm sure you would use your hands. So just pull the robes back, and I just want you to give me a description of your hands and your form.
my hands are ordinary, but they are very big and powerful.
Excellent. And how about your head and your face inside the robe? How are they shaped?
Oh, I have big eyes, and I try to hide them under that cape, under that cover, for not frightening people.
Magically, if you look back where you came out of the pyramid, you will see a mirror, a reflection of you. Just turn to the mirror and give me a good descriptive of what you look like.
My head is pear shaped, is wider on the top and narrow down to a narrow chin. My mouth is little, my eyes are huge. And the color of my face doesn't match the color of my skin on the arms.
What color is your face?
It it's almost very light blue color.
Well, no one will see you if you
No.
just take off the robe, just the head part, and just look at yourself really well, and then we'll put it back on and turn back into the scene in a moment.
Yeah. Uh, um, I'm sure I'm extraterrestrial because it doesn't look like the other people here. Um, there is other inside this pyramid that are the same race as I am, but they are still inside, have not yet stepped out. And I'm sure I'm I recognize this form and entity. I've been in this incarnation before.
Is that when you were doing the plans to remove the drakes from the planet in
Yes.
that session? Is this that person you are?
Yes.
Oh, very good. We had a desire to come back and re-meet with this character or this expression of yourself. So go ahead and put your robe back on your head, please. And
Yeah, it's like a hood.
the hood, I meant.
Yeah, it's integrated with the robe just to keep people from being afraid of my appearance.
I want you to take a long, slow, deep breath for me, please. And really feel yourself grounded into this scenario and connected to all the information that it may have to bear. And what is your role amongst the others coming out of this big pyramid? What are you there for?
I'm therefore giving them technology to ease their way of living because they have been under control of other entities with not their highest intent in mind. They have been regulated by regulation that was come from other entities that wanted to control them.
And you have somehow freed them, or
Yes, I've been in a part of a big removal of that low density hold on this place and many other places on the planet, but I am located here for the moment.
and where are you right now? What country, what area of the planet, what dimension are you in?
They say Atacama.
Atudo, Akhenaten,
No, Atacama.
Atacama.
It's almost like, it's almost desert around here.
And what area of the world are you in? Are you in Northern Africa or are you in South America?
I can rise up and look.
Oh, very good. In the count of 5, 4, 3, halfway there, 2 almost there, and 1, you can see a large perspective of the planet below you and the dot where you were.
Yeah. I'm in the northern part of South America. I see the bridge of Central America going down where I am
Oh,
placed
very
now.
good.
Atacama. They call it Atacama.
Are you familiar with Teotihuacan?
No.
Very good. I'm just asking.
These people are from different tribes or different tribes.
And
They are
what?
collecting here because they have been under such tremendous stress and they have been involved in war between themselves and also between themselves and other entities.
Are you talking about the people of that civilization there or you as a species?
No, of the civilization has been very much in war and involved in very low density where they had no control over that.
And what time frame is this in our linear experience, please?
Eleven 1152. 1152.
Oh, very good. And as you're on the this big balcony or dais coming off this huge pyramid, is that pyramid a structure that's there, or is it a vehicle?
It's a structure that was built from other entities to use in different way, but it can help you to levitate and transport information over vast areas around.
Throughout the world?
Yes.
And what is your...
It was the way they communicated this entity that was trying to hold down the frequency on the planet, and they were involved in a lot of interference with different kind of people, humans around the world. They were in Asia, they were in old Egypt, and also they were also on a big island of, oh, that's Australia. They're showing me Australia.
Okay.
They was involved with manipulating the population there.
And how did you actually deport them or remove them from the planet? How was that done?
It was a decree that come from source that they had enough of what's going on here and decided to step in when it was first up on the agenda of many different councils, and they discuss how much to interfere, but we come to the conclusion that this was nothing that was manifested from the people on the planet. It was just a try to take over the resources of the planet that are plentiful here. They wanted to reach that. So they had no mercy or pity on their inhabitants. They just used them like slaves all over.
And so when they recognized that it wasn't the actual people of the planet who were sending out these negative vibrations throughout the universe, they realized that there were interlopers, or those who have come in and corrupted and exploited the system, and that's how they were granted the opportunity and permission to come and to help
to interact, yes,
okay,
to clear out that.
So and area. How? Okay, I'm sorry. So how did they do it? How did they physically remove them? What was the procedure?
Many of them was physically disabled. Like we have entity in this community that have the power to take away your power of using your ability of manifestation and manipulation. So they took that power away, and they had to obey. We came in a vast amount of entities from all over the universe into this this timeline on your planet, and they come from many places to help to transcend them into another reality where they no longer can do any harm. And yes, they were almost teleported off this planet. Some of them was allowed to stay on because they were used also like the entities on the planet. So they were not involved. They was just used to some kind of mercenary, but not out of free will. They try to resist, but if they try to resist, they were just killed. They were just eliminated.
Understood. And was there also a technical removal, or was there a vibrational removal from these corrupt ones that were exploiting in power?
It was a technical removal in very big way, but also we had to energetically enforce the whole of the planet that has been held down to this low vibration to be able to, for the people to vibrate in the same rate as the planet they're receding on.
So if this was taking place in 1150, 12, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 1900s, 2000s, we're all the way in 2016. So that's 500, 600 years that this whole process is taking thus far.
No. It started earlier with a decision, and they tried to negotiate with these aliens to freely remove from the planet.
For how
And that
long?
started about 800 years of your linear time ago. But then the transition or the transportation of these entities, these races, took just a couple of years to perform. Because
Starting when?
starting 800 years ago, but the biggest part of that was done in just a couple of years, the transportation of these entities. But there were benevolent entities involved in this that were allowed to stay here and that are still here.
Okay, so just to be clear, 800 years ago it began, and it finished up with the majority of that removal 800 years ago, a long time ago, or not until recently within the past 100 years?
No, it was most of the work was done in a linear time of 10 years. But after that, there was a lot of work to do with the energy level and the vibration. And that took a long time to restore that vibration on your planet, because it has been gone on for a long time and in different timelines. It started long earlier than this, but we didn't interfere then because it was not known for us until this timeline what was going on.
Understood. So basically, this removal happened within the past 20 years of our linear expression.
Yes.
Okay, now that makes a huge difference. Very good. Very good.
But you have to understand that different entities have tried to come back here and interfere in different level. They try to cooperate with your governments, but they didn't get that high. They didn't get so high in the frequency that they had that impact again. It didn't make that such of imprint on your planet, but still they able to manipulate many of the inhabitants or the humans and other entities that was on this planet.
Understood. So now that you're here on the side of this pyramid, what are you doing? What exactly are you doing, and why are all those people down there to listen to you or to?
I'm here to help them to get rid of the fear and the anxiety that your among them.
Are you
And
taller than the rest of the your companions there with you?
can you say that question again?
Once you came out of the pyramid by yourself, are you all by yourself or are there some human beings with you as well?
The human being is down on the ground, and I'm standing up here for them to hear me and receive me. They are not aware of it, but I talk to them telepathically.
Ah,
I
very, very good. And
Yes,
how did they know to show up to have a communication with you?
they felt a call and an urge to visit this place, and that was planted by us to come here and to take place of this event, and that it was very important for them. So they just felt this. They came from a long way. Some of them, some of
Understood.
them are Mayan Indians, and some of them also came from Central America. So they have traveled a long way for this
Oh,
event.
very good. And as you are there, do you have a ship somewhere? Uh,
Yes,
uh, you do
yes,
have a ship somewhere, and
yes.
the pyramid that you're at. Normally, when you're not there, does it all close up and everything, or as you're there, then it activates and it's able to open and that?
We can activate it, and we use that because we are placing technology all over this continent to hide the vibration. And that is resonating out of, or this, not only this pyramid, but different pyramids in this continent are like antennas that's spreading this energy. Yeah, and the unconscious information for the people. They're receiving information to better, to help them to get better way of agriculture and the better standard of living and health.
So this is far back as 1100 and 1150 that this whole
Yes,
meeting is going on, and
yes.
like you
It
said,
was
they're
easy for us then to connect because they can even see our ship coming into uh, their density or level, and they were not afraid because it was just a send from the God as they believed.
understood. And by out of curiosity, where is your ship right now?
It's it's under the water.
Okay.
It's in the ocean
And
under
it
the water.
and those that are inside the pyramid, others like yourself, who are they and what are they doing inside of the pyramid? I'm curious.
They're just here to enforce the frequency, and they're here to help to place out these different technology here.
Would you like to go back into the pyramid and give us a tour and literally see what the others that accompanied you?
Sure.
So please, let's now anything else that's up there on that balcony with you just before you go back in. What else is up there?
It just is altar made of stone in front of me, and there's nothing else here but some technology that are hidden from them to see, from the people to see. It's almost like crystals that we are going to use to boost the energy level here.
Understood. So let's go ahead, please, and go back inside. And I wonder what happens after you go back inside. Is there still an opening there?
Yes,
Okay.
it's almost like the top of the pyramid is almost like a cabin on a boat, but in stone. So it's open. It's a big opening in front, out of where I'm come, but there is also some kind of openings in the side, nothing in the back, but it's like big windows or opening in the wall, stone wall.
Okay. And where are the other?
They are inside, sitting down on stone benches. They're sitting down and smiling and are happy to finally be able to help, finally be able to come in and interact with the inhabitants here.
Do you recognize any of the entities that are there?
Yeah, I know all of them. All of us come from Orion, the environment of Orion, from different planets, but also to the 11th dimension.
Who do you recognize that I might know?
You are here. You are here. Your friend in your life now,
Eddie?
where you live. Yeah, he's here.
What does Eddie look like?
Like me. He looks like me.
Big and muscular?
Big and extraterrestrial, not that muscular, but I think I took this form, this manifestation to show to the people that we have the power to do what we promised them to do.
And and so could you tell me what Eddie looks like then?
He has a female form, and he is very high being that are not have a high knowledge about technology. He has been, we can say, kind of master in engineering, and is a very old soul, has been among us for hundreds of years. And you are here as a couple. You are connected, not in a marriage, but on a higher frequency. You are definitely very connected, you and Eddie.
So, no, he and I are there. You say our energy is connected, you say?
Yes. You came from the same place. You have been manifested on different planets together many times.
I want you to focus on him right now, and I'm going to ask him. I know he's given me permission before, but I'm going to ask him right in the moment right now, can I have permission to speak to his higher self, okay? Or to that aspect of himself. Hold on.
Yes.
Eddie. Eddie gives us permission to speak to this higher aspect of himself. Ask her, can she come forward, please?
She's already standing by my side.
Oh, very good. And how will we identify her in this form or in this expression, if she doesn't mind?
She say, I am your soulmate.
Oh, my soulmate.
Yes. She won't give me a name. They're not so keen of giving names sometimes.
That's okay.
You're giving me an energy signature. It's almost like a thumbprint. When they come close, I can feel the energy and and it's a very benevolent being with a high knowledge and a lot of love holding on to. And I can feel the connection to the entity of Hank also, because you have been together for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years.
Ask her, how do we become soulmates? How does that happen?
It was just meant for you to have this connection because you almost fulfill each other in the way that you have made your contract. It's like you have made a contract between you that we are going to do this together because you were really, really close. You had made a contract between you on a singular basis. So it's like you're there because you are so much the same, so much, you almost vibrate in the same frequency totally. Totally.
How did we meet? Doing this type of work? Or were we created at the same time? Did we
You were created not exactly at the same time, but the connection between you took place as soon as you were aware of each other manifestation. So it's almost like you come out of source together and then decided, hey, we are one, we are together now and forever. And you both felt like that, and that this has happened thousands of times, that you find your soulmate not always connected very closely, but you're connected mentally on a higher frequency and higher base. And you have always known what the other part doing, where you are, what your plans are for the future, or what your plans are now. And you always check with this other, is this okay? Yes, it is. Then let us do this. I'm going after doing this, but then come back to you, and then we talk about it. So you are like really good mates.
How many times have we physically manifested on the planet Earth together?
A couple of times. I get 9, 12, 9, no, 4 times that are important. Ones that not really counts because it didn't take off in the way it was meant to. And you decided to go off to another reality and to another dimension. And but if you think linearly, you have been together forever.
Well, I'm familiar with that story that you just said about me taking off and it didn't work out. I am totally familiar with that. Here on the planet right now, it's very rare in these sessions that I get to speak to an higher aspect of Eddie. And he's obviously here on the Orion with this Orion Council. Is this the Orion Council of the 9 that we spoke to the other day?
You have been in that council, but now you come from another area in a council of 11, council of 11, but it's still in the realm of Orion. But Orion is very vast. You have to understand that it's not just popping over to a neighbor for a cup of coffee. It's distance between.
That's understood. But I thought when I asked you where you were, or who they were that were from the ship and that were in there.
Yeah, we came here together, and we came from the 11th dimension, but we got our, not order, but our quest from the Orion Council of Nine. That's correct.
Okay.
But you
So,
have to understand that the council is not often manifested in that, in some place or some building. It's just connected mentally. And
understood.
so it's hard to say that you came from this planet together because you have this task to fulfill. It's not really like that.
That's understood. That's actually not what I meant, but that's okay. I do understand what you're saying. I'm just wondering now that knowing that Eddie is a part of this particular council, and I know there's many councils from many different places within the huge region, but also the dimension or the time, the forever moment of now, which we would call the 11th dimension or community or council, whatever. But what I really have a desire to know is any of the other times that we've gotten together, has Eddie's aspect been in the room? Lars, that's what I'm asking you. Has this same entity that is Eddie, has he been in, do you recall if he's been in any of the other councils, or it's just like the first time? It's the first time you've mentioned him.
It feels like this first time he manifested out of the task from that council.
Understood. So
But
why now?
you are almost like identical twin on a soul level. So you have, wherever the other has been, the company of you were there also. So you are and you have been on different council and still working in that way. But your friend has a very much more passive role in the council. He is there putting his information and knowledge into the council, but not often taking part in the decision, just acknowledge the decision and accepting the role of doing the work. You are more of the leading energy, and he is almost like completing you in many different levels, in many different frequencies. So you're not only a soulmate, you're also an aspect of each of you in the same time, and you also are very close connected. We will not say physically, but when you manifest, you do that often together.
Excellent. And why now? Why come forward now? In all of these hundreds of sessions that I've done, I've always had a desire for.
It's important that you understand that he is very much, he is an entity with a lot of knowledge, and he is focusing on engineering, technology, and he still do that in a way. Let us talk now maybe in his mindset, but he's will going to release, and he will take part in more engineering of technology in the future, in your linear future, on
I
different levels also.
I actually got that from another session that I have done. Is
Then it is a confirmation then.
very good. Is what else could Eddie's higher self tell me about um, his role in in our existence? Just anything that he could share.
He has the same role in your manifestation now as he had many times before. He's assisting you, he's there for you, you're acting like a teacher, he acting like a supporter, and he's boosting your confidence in a way. Maybe you don't need it, but still that is the way it works. And yeah, you're just completing each other.
He does boost my confidence tremendously.
Yes,
I have a high respect for his regard.
yes. You should be, you should have a respect for his knowledge and understanding. And we know you have that.
Well, he's far more evolved than I am. I can tell you that. So, I mean, at least physically manifest. Well, actually, we're the same. So, but
You manifest in very different energy frequencies. So he can seem, when he's manifested on your planet now, like a cool, calm entity. But there's a lot of things going on inside that man. A lot of things.
yeah, very much so. Absolutely. Well, I'm just really happy to know that he's there. Is Michelle Whaling? Is she in this room? In this particular council?
No, she's not. An, uh, there is rather new entities here in regard to what we have met before. We have our coordinator, that is Maya.
Oh, very good. So Maya is there, and she's there opposite of you. I forgot your
Yes,
name. Rai, how do you pronounce your name again? Ra something?
I didn't pronounce my name.
Not in this time. I thought you did the last time. I was trying to remember it, but maybe not.
It's not that important, it's just an aspect of me. And I want to tell for you that this is important because that aspect is the coordinator for and controller for the quality of work that we do here together, and also to coordinate where to be in what time and in what dimension.
This
So
this is Maya that you speaking of, or
yes, and then we have the sister of Maya here, that is the pilot of the ship, but we all can pilot the ship, but she is extraordinary good in navigation. She's almost intuitive in navigation. Everything comes natural for her. She can navigate wherever, whenever, however. So it's really good to have her. It's a good feeling that have her on the team, and we all feel confident that it's all going to be okay. And she's going back to the ship and prepare that on an energetic level for our department that will take place soon. We are going to other places
you say our
on
departure?
our departure from
Okay,
this
very good.
area.
Very good, very
Yeah.
good.
We are going over to a part you call Asia today. It's in the region of Himalaya
The Himalayas,
and,
yes.
and Tibet. And we
Yes.
are going over there to do the same kind of reinforcement there. And we're also going up in what you call former Russia and the Siberian steppe, where we are also going to put in technology for this transition of energy going on.
So when you go to Tiberia and Tibet and the Himalayas and Russia, Siberia, I meant, where do you actually place the technology? Are there pyramids that are there that haven't been uncovered or that they just don't talk about? Or where would this technology go?
There was in that timeline places there in the Tibet area, and there are traces of them still today that haven't been found yet. And many of them were taken over by the monks, and they are now sitting on that knowledge that was available in these manifestations of buildings, and and uh, and they are considered as master now, and they are really trying to help mankind here now in this density, and they do a big work with that.
Excellent. But to be clear, you said that Chandra was going to go to the ship because we were going to be headed toward Asia to drop off
Yeah,
and these different places, locations, with to infuse with particular type of technology.
yeah.
And
The technology is just uh, it's just program material. Almost, it's a form of crystal that are programmed to release such amount of energy, to release knowledge into the people in the area, and the pyramid in themselves is almost like we have to relate this frequency in a way that your television or your radio signals function today. We need antennas to reinforce the signals from those uh, technology.
excellent.
Yeah.
And do you use the pyramids that are in those areas to do that?
Yes,
Okay.
that is the purpose from the first beginning with the pyramid is to be like antennas.
And then what about the ley lines? Because all of the pyramids are on the ley lines. Those
Yes,
and
they are they are almost like highways and a pathway for the frequency and energy to be transported to next antenna and next antennas.
very good. So this makes sense, and it really the questions that we were going to ask, but I'm just happy that it came in this direction because I know understand the ley lines to be the meridians of the Earth's body, just like we have meridians in our body. And I teach traditional Chinese medicine that goes into all of that. But I'm really happy to get there. So Maya, Chandra, Hank, and Eddie, and Lars, we're all part of this crew that's in this big pyramid, and the people are down below because you went inside. Just to tell me what was who else was inside. Is there one, two, three, four, five? That's five of us, and you said there are other entities in there as well.
We are 12 total here.
12 in total.
Yeah. Or we are 11 now because she has left for the ship.
For the ship. And
Yes.
as we're coming together in that expression there, we're getting ready to go on these particular trips to do these things. Would that be in our linear expression now, but of course in our dream time or in just in our higher other multidimensional aspects of ourselves that are doing this work?
Some of the entity is higher expression of you. Some of this energy beings here are expression of Eddie's higher self and of Lars' higher self. So we are just manifested in a physical form to be able to perform this task. And when we talk about the ley lines, we want you to see it in this way that they are like highways for energy frequencies to travel. It's like a motorway or highway from one place to another, from a sender to a transceiver, from a transceiver to another receiver. And that's going on today. And there are many of you that are helping manifest that free movement of energy on your planet now.
Very good. I have a new person that has come into my life, and I'm wondering if she's a part of this group. Her name is Judith Lynn. I'll just call her Lynn for short.
Yes, she's one of them here also. she is very much in the work of boosting this. It's almost like she's clearing up the ley lines for be able to the energy to travel freely with no hindrance in the way of lower frequency, lower vibration that still is among you humans today, of course.
Excellent. Really excellent. So now that you've gathered this information from this group, is there anything else that the group would like to share through you to all of those of us who are listening? Uh,
Yes, we want to enforce the importance of you to focus on the good for the collective now in this time. Every time you're focusing on singular, uh, every time you put your focus on a singular way, it's it's not doing any good for your planet. Your planet is trying to adjust to this new frequency, and so are many of you. So when you do something, do that with the focus of the benefit of the collective, the masses of you. So when you try to change anything, try to change it for the better for many, not just for yourself. And we don't talk about egoistic thinking. You're still a singular being, and you still need to very much focus on yourself also. But in the work you're doing as a light being, you have to keep the highest intention for the collective.
oh, very good. Do you foresee uh, the group, like already Lars and I are here doing this work together, even though he's on the other side of the world. And then, of course, Eddie and I actually live together and we do our work here. And
There was
do,
just the purpose for you to manifest, to be able to use the energy flow that is going on now. And you, even if the entity of Lars is on the other side of the planet from you physically, there is mentally no boundaries, and the flow between you and him is very much flowing freely, and the flow between you and Eddie is flowing freely, and all is in in the higher intention of raising and healing Mother Gaia, and she's really raising in the energy, and you have to raise with her.
and I
In
was
the,
thinking about in terms of a Len, because of late we've come together and
she is traveling. She's traveling. We can perceive her traveling around a lot, visiting different places, just to release a lower density.
I'm wondering if we'll all end up working together. Um,
You are working together.
what about physically?
Yes, you're going to work closer together in a near future of your life.
Oh, very good. And
And you
whenever,
will also attract others that resonate with your work and will help enforce that energy frequency, but not in the way exactly you do, but you will enforce them energetically, and they will enforce you energetically to keep on doing your different tasks you have signed for during this time, linear time and timeline.
all of a sudden, people are coming in my path and in Lars's path of late, and
You are
that's why.
attracting them by your energy signature that are raising in frequency, yes. You are attracting them. It's like you are like lighthouses attracting. You can attract kind of low vibration also because they're seeking. You can attract high vibrational beings, and they will work with you and resonate with your work.
Do you mind whenever I ask, like when we're asking these questions about who is there in the 12, if when I'm asking about who's in the 12, does that bother you to know? Does, or how do you feel about when I ask about who's there? You say Maya, Sandra, Hank, Eddie, Lars, Lynn.
We know what you're trying to achieve, and we know the intention behind that. But we also want you to know that sometimes we don't reveal everything in protection of these entities, because we know that they can be maybe not physically attacked, but under observation of lower vibration that will help to achieve. So therefore, sometimes we will not reveal their identification or the manifestation now here on this planet.
Understood. Well, everyone, such as myself and Lars and Lynn, we're already out there in the field doing it, and people pretty much know who we are, or those who are focused on the energy and the things that we're doing in our life probably are already familiar with us.
Yeah, and you can handle much of what's happening to you, but you have to understand that you attract people that are not in the same vibration and same knowledge pool as you are, and they have, of course, all of the entity has their fingers in the pool of uh, of everything because we are all one. But you have to understand that they need another kind of protection, both physically and mentally, because they are vulnerable for what is going to happen. And that's why we don't like to reveal the identity. It's decided that way. We just have to say it's decided that way.
No, that's totally understood. Um, well, I know Maya and Sandra aren't physically manifest on the planet. If they are, it's never been told. Um,
No, they're not. They have too
and
much.
Hank and Lars, or Henry Jones the second and Lars, are in your face almost daily with what we're doing. Um, I
And you're really racing now. You have to understand that you're really racing now. So everything that tried to hold you back in your mindset, in your perception of others, you have to see past that and let that density go. Uh, Lars has written a lot about this, and it's very important to take that into heart. This purge of lower density is very much important. And you do that by looking beyond what is happening exactly now in front of your eyes and not focusing on the low density, because it's very easy to do, because it's flowing in a very high rate, because it's affected now by what is going on here on this planet.
Well, that was one of Lars's questions: how to purge the low vibration, and we do that with sharing this information that we're sharing in the work we do. Is it not?
Yeah. Yeah, and purge the density you do best, like not lingering on in a feeling of that you that you are separated or singular, and you also have to look beyond that feeling that arises in your mental body and analyze it and realize that it has no purpose for the extension.
And getting beyond our concept of limitation.
Yes, definitely it's very important now. There is no limitation, but it's come in the right proportion and the right time for each of you, and that is very different from individual to individual.
We had some questions about the history of the planet Earth and the beings that are on the planet. So the first thing that happens when in this session, you take Lars. Lars shows up here inside this pyramid now with this council, having this meeting. Have after having just connected with the people that are outside the pyramid that have come as a part of this sort of convention in a sense from 1150. As in terms of the Homo sapiens, how many groups of Homo sapiens have been on the planet Earth and have destroyed themselves and then had to sort of not totally make themselves extinct, but having to start back over and in their Homo sapien form, not to be confused with higher vibrational humanoid forms that have been on the planet, but the actual Homo sapien itself.
In the form of Homo sapiens, you have backed off a higher frequency 4 big times in the history line. There has been influence every time from outside that almost sneaked into your reality and took you back to a lower density. And you have worked yourself out of that lower density in a big way 4 times in your history.
And is this the fifth time where we're going to actually be able to rise up and go ahead and
Yes,
to the next?
it is the 5th time, and you will never be able to go back to that lower density again, because now you are a part of this big pool of knowledge, energy, different entities, different dimension that you are going to tap into. So it's not possible for anyone from outside come in and try to put you in a lower density. They are certainly going to happen now in your linear time here. Try to keep you in low density by creating scenarios that want to keep you focused on that low density. That can be a rose war, but they will not be able to hold on for any longer time. They can raise conflicts in different areas on your planet, but they will not be able to hold that lower density, because it's not possible for you and the earth to anymore vibrate in that low frequency.
Excellent. And when we pass through, when we finally meet the threshold of the highest vibrations that will no longer hold any of the low vibrations, who of the extraterrestrial races will be the first to have contact on a large basis on the planet? Could you share?
We can share this much, that you will perceive the entities coming through you as the Nordic form of entity. They are tall, beautiful beings, blonde hair, blue eyes, and we think you call them Nordic.
Okay.
And they are coming forward because first they are, when they first coming forward, it's going to, you're going to adjust the benevolent energy around them, so you will not go into fear or withdrawal of your intention. But there is so much going on already now in different dimensions, and they are interacting with you all the time. Some of you are very much aware of that. Some of you are aware of that in your dream state or in the state of this kind of session. You're connecting to that all the time, and you're doing work with them, and you're cooperating, and you're still having you are focusing on the path of the good for the masses and the collective.
Yeah, that's for sure. And these Nordic will be a positive, benevolent race, and not
Yeah, definitely. They're coming in through your reality for help you with, you can say they're going to help you with health issue that you have hold on to as a lower density. They're going to come in and help you presenting technology on energetic level, helping you to receive energy that you need to sustain your way of life. You have to let go of some uh, perception you have had for a long time on your planet, how things is not possible or it's almost impossible. They're going to show for you that no, that is not impossible. That is doable for you to receive. And they are going to come and present this for you, but you still have a lot of work to do before that can take place. But when you're talking about this threshold, the first thing you will uh, meet when you pass through that threshold is just that love coming into your reality. And many of you are going to receive that directly. Many of you are still needing to adjust. You, we want you to understand that you are developed in this reality on many different levels.
understood. So the Nordics will come first. How long will, what type of time frame will pass before we're ready for a second group?
They are they almost uh, they almost come upon each other. They're coming very close to each other in time, in the timeline.
Okay.
And the Nordic race will present them for you so you can distinguish them from, because many coming in an energetic form, but many of them are going to manifest also. But you need to understand that no evil energy is allowed to pass through this energy field now surrounding your, not only your planet, but the whole of the solar system where you live. You are monitored from many benevolent races.
I'm very happy that you said that, um, because a lot of times Lars and I have a really, not knockdown dragouts, but we have really good conversations about all the information that has come through. And before, when I asked about this barrier that was protecting us from lower vibrational entities being able to come through, Lars just flatly out said in the session and induce that no, there's no such thing, no one can do that. And now here we are. This was one of our questions. Here we are now, and you're telling us about this energetic barrier, so to speak, that is stopping any negative or evil energetic entities to be able to pass through, mainly because the vibration is so high they wouldn't be able to stand it. But this is one of the questions that we had from the very beginning that we spoke before we began this, was about the information that I believe Lars is receiving now is so much more developed, and so much more information seems to be able to be released through him than I would say that it was before. Would that be accurate?
Yes, and not only through him, to many of you light workers are now receiving information from this pool of energy that wasn't really possible before you have reached this state where you are in now. You, you are now tapping into that in a higher rate and in a deeper level of knowledge and understanding So many light workers are now coming out with much more precise information that is important for you as a collective to focus on, but also as a singular being to focus on, because it's necessary for you to understand what is going on, to be able to pass through that threshold where there no longer are any veil for you to see that vast pool of love, understanding, knowledge, and benevolent entities and energy. You are going to be able to dive into that. And therefore, we try to put out more specific information for you to connect with, to faster get to that level of frequency and understanding as a singular being. But you have to focus on the collective, because your planet now is also trying to adapt to the new frequency, and you have to do this transition together with your planet in the same frequency to be able to go through that threshold to be accepted into that reality.
That's understood. Well, I can say I knew a lot of the answers to the questions already that I was asking. I was just trying to get the information out there and have it come from someone else besides just from what I'm saying, from what I'm
Yes, of
saying.
course you know this because we relate this information to you daily and in your dreams and in your work all the time. And we are here to clarify this for anyone that are listening in and watching this. That is very important to listen to the message that's coming out, not only for those two entities of Hank and Lars, but many other light workers are getting much more valid information out now, valid in the form for the collective. And they are not longer focusing on the lower vibration. They are not putting the fingers on, look what's going on here, here's a war, here's a conflict, because that is the that is the ultimate thing you have to purge. That is the ultimate thing you have to release. And in the moment and in the second you release that, you are not longer able to be stuck in that third dimension density.
Excellent. Wow, thank you very much. Lots and lots of really incredible information, lots of answers to questions that I didn't even ask, but you already knew, obviously, what we had a desire to confirm and speak about, and I'm so happy about that. Here is one
You
of my
know, you are we are you, we are one. So everything we have in knowledge, you can receive in knowledge and understanding. But you're still holding on to that reality where you are now, and that is needed to be for the moment. But you're getting this knowledge, and we answer questions before they are asked, and you have also answered before they have been answered. So that is a confirmation of the connection between you and us and the source.
excellent. Now, here is two particular questions, and they had to do with contracts. And we call them contracts, but these are agreements, or even I call them the divine plan, or on our any particular expression. Like we're physical, this is what we're going there for, and some people call that a contract or what have you. But it's just all semantics as far as I'm concerned. Is it possible to say, for instance, to finish a contract after you've incarnated onto a planet, and then once you're finished and you sort of understand that you're finished with it, that you can now take on some new contracts or make some new decisions about staying and doing more.
Yes, you're going to get confirmation in different way that you have fulfilled that part that you decide onto yourself to take. And yes, so you are going to be aware of when you are able to go in another direction or doing some other kind of work and where you want to do that and in what reality and density and dimension you want to do that.
What about even still in this physical form? Has Lars or Hank have or Henry Jones II, have we completed our task here, or are we still working on it?
You're still working because you're still much want to help others that are have been stuck in that lower density. And but of course you can say, as you know, you all have a free will, and there's not a binding contract that you're going to be punished if you break that contract. It was a contract you made with yourself when you transited into this reality and manifested there. You
Understood.
can, whenever you want, say, no, I back out of this now. I don't want to do this anymore. That's totally okay, and you will not be judged. But we know, as your personality here, you will never give up. You will keep on doing this, but also be aware of that it's going to be very rewarding for you very soon in a way that we can't talk about now. But you are special, as many other light workers are special. And the new generation of workers that are coming in here don't hold on to that density because they have never been in that density. It's a very strange uh, perception for them. So they're doing the work in another way and another frequency, and they are going to cooperate with you other light workers and
Excellent.
understand.
Is so here. This just leads me there with that thought. Is are there light workers who have completed their contracts or their sole purpose and have decided to leave, but then allow other souls to actually walk in and take over
Yes,
to accomplish? What is the percentage of that? Is there a lot of that going on now?
many of the, if we can put it like this, earlier generation of light workers have now fulfilled that task that was to set you in a mindset and awareness that have never been reached before here. And they have fulfilled that. Many of them have fulfilled that. And we can talk of hundreds, we can talk of thousands of light workers before you that put your mindset onto the focus for what you have decided to do. And
And
many
then
of them are still here, manifested. Many of them have left your reality
and
and
then
seeking their work elsewhere.
and then other walk-in spirits have been able to walk into that body and continue it with other missions.
Usually they come in a new body because the experience of being born also alter your mindset to understand the renewed birth of your reality and your planet. But yes,
Are
many of the, yes, you can say there are walk-ins.
Okay,
Yes.
because I was wondering if there were walk-ins who already had the physical experience already and already knows, been there, done that, so to speak, and they just want to come in on a good physical body that has decided to leave and let the other go in and take its memories and make its new choices and decisions.
We can make a scenario for you to understand this, how it's work.
Very good.
You have a man or a woman driving a car, crashing into a wall, and walking out of that totally unharmed and coming to conscious just when they are arriving to the hospital or they are arriving into the ambulance. and they can't understand. They saw themselves dead in that car. They saw themselves from outside in, and then they are awakening to the reality when they are in the hospital, and they can also get the information that we can't understand how you can step out of that car, totally wrecked car or motorcycle or whatever, and no harm done at all. Then is the time when they are walking in and taking over.
Oh, very good. And of course, that is, of course, decided on a higher level with both of the entities, higher self, to make the decision.
Sure, they have almost been written into the contract, but of course, when they are experiencing the experience of that crash, they don't remember that, but in the same second that they pass over and another soul take their place, they are very much aware of that reality for them.
I always wondered had something like that happened to me because there were several times when I think that I may have, I thought I would just was dead.
In a way, but your soul has not been shifted, but enforced. And we can say they took your soul and polish it a little bit and put it back again. Yes. And polish it in the way of knowledge and understanding. They enforced it.
They had, they reinforced it, huh?
Yes.
Was that in Florida?
That is, you have experienced this 3 times. 1 time that you're not aware of. 2 times we very much think you are aware of, and then that was one of them, yes.
See, I knew it wasn't my imagination. And see here, a year, 2, 3, 3 years later, via well, this guided visualization, I'm able to get new information about myself.
And we also are able to give you that now because it is the right time.
Well, thank you. I'm very appreciative of that. I'm always appreciative of everything that I can get about myself in these sessions. Um, I don't care how it comes across to anyone, and I just don't. Not at this point anymore. Wow, very
Don't,
good.
as long as you don't hold on to lower density, it will not affect you in any way what other things or what thinks and what other feel about what you're doing, because the right energy you will attract anyway, and the wrong energy that's coming in front of you, some of them you're going to help tremendously by planting this seed into them, even though if they brush off what you do, uh, both in speech and in writing, you just have to rely to that knowledge that you planted the seed, and they need to take time to grow into a new entity.
Our train of thought. That's totally understand, and I do know that, and I I sort of bank on that for sure. And but I still, I mean, without shame, I like to ask questions about myself when I'm doing this. Not if someone's paying me and it's a professional gig where it's all about them, but when we're exploring for the benefit of the whole and getting information. I like to know that I've been through those type of experiences because it just lets everyone else know that they have been through those type of things before, and that stuff has come up in my head before, and so I know if it's there and I'm asking questions about it, there's some reason. And
Yes, there
so
has
thank
been
you.
many of you humans that have that experience of, we think you call it near-death experience. Then you are or you are uh, receiving a new soul in the same body, or you're getting your soul enforced to receive to a new level of knowledge. Many that come out of that experience back to your reality have received an understanding that I never even could imagine before. And that is given to them as a gift. That is given to them to use that to help the collective, not only on your planet, but it's echoed through the whole of this universe. Because it's all, we are all one and one is all.
Well, I'm very happy that I've been living up to those three experiences to be able to come back and keep playing the game. So, I mean, I knew it. I've even written a piece about it before, about the three times, and that's what it was, three times that I had passed, and or almost passed. I was near it, and well, they said, "Hank, you were never near it." You know, they so obviously, as you tell me, they signed me up and shoved me back in until
Yes, and you have also, as an entity, been manipulated from outside sources, as your military forces. But that was stopped and was not longer allowed to go on. There was interference in that because it was beyond your free will, and you got some really serious help with that.
see,
And
I
that was a time when you needed to have your soul polished and reinforced.
and I still already, as soon as you already said what you first said, you were never able to give me so much information, but yet again, you bring it up again. And I have so many questions about that. Um,
Yes, but drop the density,
and that's what
go
they,
past the density. That is a way of purging for you that is very important. Leave that experience behind you in this timeline because it will not affect you. You have already been healed from that, but the imprint is still in your mental body, of
well,
course,
exactly.
because
The
it's a,
imprint is in my mental bodily, plus it's going something that was against my will, but yet I don't even know what it was. And I was wondering what word
and
and
will not be any benefit for you to know exactly what was going on in your timeline now and in your ascension in the work you're doing now. So that is a very big part for you to purge, put away, and go on.
okay. So, and that's excellent. And I'm really happy that you said that. So, with that being able to happen to me and against my free will, does it sort of buy me extra protection, or does it warrant other things that beyond the normal to happen for me, or the decisions that I make because of that, or and not
When
just
you
me,
decide
anyone who
to
goes through
purge
that?
that information or that experience, when you decided to do that, which you did some time back linearly, in the same second you are reinforced as a singular being in protection because you're putting out up this energy field around yourself, and you also are protected from other dimension, and you and your friend in Sweden are aware of that, and also sometimes it's happened very physically for some of you, and yes, that made you that made you stronger in your pursuit of of the goal of your contract. Yes.
Understood. It motivated me to find out that. Okay, understood. And without going into details, it makes total sense to me. And thank you
Yeah.
very much. You can hear me good. Can you not hear me?
We receive you good, yes.
Okay, very good. I'm trying not to speak so loud because everyone says my voice is always so loud compared to Lars's. So I'm trying to,
Maybe they have trouble hearing because they don't want to hear something. If they really want to hear, they will be able to hear this.
well, I don't know. You said that. Okay.
We want to enforce that when anyone go in and maybe not criticize, but have opinion on who you are, on what you do, they just holding on to that lower vibration and density that we just said is so important to go beyond, to purge and leave behind. And many of you on the planet are still in that mindset. That's why we're trying to help you to enforce and to change that mindset with these messages, with the messages you as Hank and the messages the entity of Lars trying to bring forward is to help you, give you method to purge all of that low density and leave it behind you because you are stepping in to a thing that you not longer have any urges to criticize or have opinion on whatsoever. It just is. And you are going to understand that it just is, and I accept that it just is.
Understood. And thank you very much for that. Here was now something that Lars was interested in knowing. There were three lights that were blinking there where he lived at, and they were over a ridge, and he watched them do some pretty incredible maneuvers. Uh, why was he able to see that, first of all? And was he literally involved with what was going on those ships, unbeknownst to himself?
We were there to pick him up, to bring him back to South America, to that timeline where he needed to express what has been happening before. So
And
yes, he was very much involved in that.
so when
We come from time is not linear. Time is a fourth dimension, and so time does not exist. We can, as you would perceive it, come from past time into your timeline and go on into future timeline or back in the timeline because everything is happening simultaneously. It's very hard to uh, get grasp on that.
No, I
But you,
understand that
yeah, yeah,
simultaneously
but we're
the
talking for the
universe.
mass. Yeah, we're
Understood.
talking.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to tie it into what you're saying
So what
because,
their lights were there to take uh, that part of him that was involved in that particular timeline, that time imprint, to be able for him to show this for you today.
okay, so that's all I was going to do was clarify. And I'm so happy you just said it again. But just to be clear for everyone who's listening, in the very moment days ago when he saw those three lights blinking, they already knew in a simultaneous expression of ourselves that he would be here today doing this session, asking about those particular things. And in that particular time, they that particular they took him to reinforce the information that he had from that timeline where he arrived today on the dais of the pyramid with the people below him and the council on the inside in advance, knowing that this today we all this information will come up and he'd be able to share it with us. Is that what you just said?
Yes, that's a way of putting it, yes.
Okay,
And
awesome.
that is to make it perceivable for you to understand that you have uh, already sent out the message to the universe, your intention, long before your mental body are uh,
Our mind
uh,
received it or perceived it.
yeah, your mind focusing on that. So you're already sent out for all the information, the help you need to make this come true and possible for you. And that is when different frequency entities, different level come into Lars's reality and his perception. To enforce that, we enforce him with energy every day because he's really raising in vibration and the information is getting clearer and clearer for each message you and him putting out together and him as a singular being putting out there for you to receive.
Excellent. And with that being said, uh, he's writing, he's getting these downloads, and you can always tell, especially when we talk to each other on Skype, and I start talking, and I see all those light entities beaming them in his third eye, and all literally all over him, and while he's actually working. So it's just an amazing thing to hear how someone has downloaded a book or a movie. Or is he being downloaded books right now? Is that's why he's uh, writing
He's
all?
downloading a very much amount of knowledge and information, and of course it can be put together in a book, it can be put out in a movie, it can be put out in every way he is going to think is the best way to resonate with people around him and people on your planet.
Excellent. Very, very good. Because, a lot of times you have people who've written amazing books and they've said afterwards, especially light workers, that they were told you're going to write a book, and then all of a sudden the information is coming through, coming through, coming through, and then they finish it within a spectacular amount of time, saying that they just channeled everything and they just wrote it out and transcribed it for them. So I was wondering if that was what was happening to him. Uh,
We're giving him information and he's tapping into this information. He still have his free will where he will, how he will
Presented.
uh, do this. And yes, of course he can write a book. He have done that before in
Understood.
other areas. But he want to integrate all of that knowledge into him also as a mental being to decide out from what is the best way for the collective. And maybe it can be a book. He's still working mentally on that kind of information. But as he chooses now to do, it's just fine and it will resonate with the right people. And we know that the interaction between him and you as a physical being are very good for both of you. You're giving him ideas and he relating back to you thinking and way of perceiving things. So it's a benefit for you both. So
Well,
that is a nice cooperation you're doing now in this area where you're residing now.
I appreciate our relationship, our friendship, our partnership, and the work that we're doing. I think it is quite spectacular, and I love the doors that it seems to be opening for both of us. And of course, our highest intent is just to, well, for me, is to just so people can see there's so much more than what they thought they were. And that's always been my intention, for them to be able to recognize that they have a
That is what
heritage.
brought you together because your focus is in the same area in the same direction. That brought you together to have this uh, exchange of ideas, thinking, and how to develop this. And this have been shown in the time you have had this physical connection on that level that you have improved your work a lot because of that exchange of knowledge and understanding and thinking. So that has been very much in the best for both of you.
Excellent.
And you
Well,
decided that long time ago.
so how's Lars's body doing now?
The body in itself is getting a little hot because he's vibrating very much in a high frequency, but it's nothing bad going on.
Oh, very good. So, what is the conclusion of this council in this particular moment as they come together and discuss the different aspects of uh, all of our tasks? How does it end?
Never going to end because you are, as a light worker, going to give you new assignments over and over and over again, but it will be effortless for you. It will not take any toll on you as singular being because you are enforcing your own aura and energy field in the rate, in a higher rate than you ever can spend. So you will keep on doing this in this reality. You are off doing work in a higher reality, higher frequency, and are you are that kind of souls that are helping, and and it's so much good for not only your planet, for the solar system, for the galaxies, or the whole of your universe.
Very good. Here's the last question that I have, and I guess I didn't write it down, but I remember it. It was Lars's question, and we've asked this before, and you gave us information, but now as we see that the information that we're getting is coming in so much clearer and so much easier, this is the question: what will the Homo sapien look like on the other side of this transition? What type of bodies will we have, and what will be their abilities?
In the fifth dimension transition, you are able to perceive your body in the state of being energetic and strong and healthy. You are still going to age, but the aging is going to slow down very much so. You're going to live to a higher age. You can be 200 years old if you choose to. Many of you will not choose to because you have fulfilled your contract and your work long before that. But everyone that are focusing on the right frequency are going to look for others like they are like babies with enormous knowledge. They are going to see you as a strong energy being. And that is what you're going to feel also.
Oh, very good.
We want to say that in the fifth dimension, you are not able to bring your physical body with you to next dimension. And there is no need for why drag around on a big lump of meat, on a big heavy thing that just hinder you from floating freely. You will not, when you understand this correlation, even ever think of that, because it's like you have to drag a car behind you wherever you go. That you will not do.
I was led to believe that this particular ascension, this transition that we're going through, that we would eventually not have to have our bodies if we decided that. That what was this thing that was special about this, particular Homo sapien ascension is that
Yes,
we
you
would
can
be able
step
to
out
take our
of your
physical
bodies.
body.
Yes, of course, you can step out of your body and still exist in the reality where you are in then. But then you are not able to interact with them that are still manifested on your planet in a physical way. You're still going to, and because they are raising and they are developed the ability of of um, of communicating with without words, without sound, without that kind of interaction. So if you try, if you decide to step out of your body, you will be able to interact with other entities and beings. And many are going to decide that because it's so much easier for you to travel and to visit other places, other realities, other planets.
This
You
is
can't
under
do that in you.
that is understood. So um, if if so, do we have to have fifth dimensional light bodies in order to come into full consciousness, or can we come into full consciousness still at third dimensional beings?
Yes, you can. You can still keep your entity, your manifested entity you have now when you transceive into that higher frequency. Yes, you can.
And so, if we're focused in the fifth dimension and able to time travel and travel the universe, of course, no such thing as time, so that means we can be at all places at all times. Would we still be able to then focus back into our physical bodies? And when we do focus back into our physical bodies, will our physical bodies just like lay down and sleep until we come back to them, or how will that work?
No, you will not be able to keep on to that manifestation if you decide to go on, and you will not even want to keep that density because you can leave that, you can step out momentarily out of the body just as you can do a meditation and leave your body for a while as long as that silver cord is connected to you from your body, you will going to be able to go back in and it will be like you are in a sleep state. Others will perceive you as you are sleeping. But you can't do that for longer travels in time and space.
So this is understood then. So when we make the total transition, and I guess the total transition will be from third dimension to fifth dimension, and then the third dimension will no longer exist. Third dimensional Earth will no longer exist because we're shifting to fifth dimensional Earth. And with that said, you say we can come into full consciousness before we shift into the fifth dimension. So how long will we be on the planet Earth in full consciousness before we literally do shift in the fifth dimension? Will that take hundreds of years or?
No, that's happening now.
Oh my.
That's happening in this time line, in this time, in this in this place, in this universe where you're transiting to now. That is taking the form of that, and your planet is also transiting into a higher frequency. So when you pass over into the uh, fifth dimension reality, you will still perceive your planet as the planet Gaia or Earth, but you will see it with other eyes and
Under.
in other way. And then many of you will decide to step out of the body and leave that behind because it's a very dense reality to be in, because your soul are so much bigger than that. So you will feel, if you will take on that body again, like you have to squeeze into that little body with your entity then.
This is
So
amazing information, and I just love just talking about this information. Uh, so the thought is, we're going through this transition like now, and everything that it's coming from, everything that's coming to me is that this is going to happen soon and in this lifetime. That
yes,
shift will be so tremendous. It'll probably, like you said, the first 500 will shift, and then it'll start rippling off after that. But how long do you actually think it would take time from 500 to 8, 7 billion people to be able to?
you are the 500 that are chosen to awaken the other entities on your planet. Many of them are in during that time decided to leave this manifestation. Many are, as you say, going to die, and the body is going to put away. Many of them that is going to die decide to leave the body and already manifested in that new reality.
Ah, very good.
But many are still holding on, and what the 500 we talk about that will be exponentially much bigger, very fast, is there to help the other one to to step into this over this threshold.
Ah, very.
That is the work you have decided to do.
And that particular type of work, how long could that potentially last? The other 7 billion.
It's very much dependent on how fast your planet adjusting to the new frequency. It very much depends on how you, as inhabitants on the planet, focus on helping the planet back to the glorious day, if we can say like that, when the planet vibrated in much higher frequency. As soon as more of you focusing on going back to the nature and respect all living, the faster this will happen. So we have to say, in the end of all this, it's totally up to you as a race on the planet.
Well,
It
that's
can
understood. But
that
something
can
like,
be that can be in a week, that can take a year, that can take 10 years. But we can see that the incoming uh, the incoming energy is awakening you in a way that has never happened before. So it's resonating through millions of you already, and it's going to grow like a wildfire. So we will not say that it will take that long linear time. In a couple of years, you have the ability to step into that new reality.
oh, amazing. Is it possible for Lars to step into the future in this higher vibration and just give us a glance at what it may look like on the other side?
It's very difficult because it so much depends on free will. And the free will is in play in every dimension and in every reality. So if he step into that, he may show a thing that are out of his free will that are not really going to manifest for you.
Understood.
So it's a little difficult. But what we can say as an energy from this level is that this will be going back to a more pristine planet to live on. You are going to be provided for the need you have with food, energy, and all that thing, but it will not be an abundance. You are not going as singularly to be able to collect much more than what will be provided for you to keep on having a existence here. You are going to be provided for with the energy, the shelter, the food, and all that thing in a different way. The monetary system is going to fade away and have no role whatsoever because what is given to you freely is of course free. No one are able then to uh, uh, try to accumulate wealth in the way you have done in the monetary system. Why should you have two houses when one is enough? You can decide that I want to live in another place on this planet, and when you decide that, and with the focus of the benefit for the masses, the house in that place are going to be provided for you. So whenever you focus for the benefit of the all, it's going to be provided. That is the big difference from today when many still struggle to go by day because they're holding on to that low vibration. They're keeping on to that feeling of fear. When they can lose up that feeling, when they connect to a higher vibration, they will understand, they will be provided for. And
Excellent.
there is no entity that are going to provide that. It is you that are going to manifest that with your free will.
Wow. Well, we all look forward to that, and I think that's a lot of times one of the huge motivators for people to listen to anything like what he and I post. And we're very happy and grateful and thankful for the opportunity to come together like this and to receive such amazing information that we can share.
And we are happy to be able to use this entity to translate this information to you. We are very thankful for Lars being willingly subject to these kind of messages over and over and over again because he is so much focused on the collective now, as you are, but you're still working as a singular being with your own work on a smaller level, but is still on the same path and aiming for the same goal.
You say on a smaller level. So,
We want to make you understand that even if you're giving a singular being a session or massage or healing, it can feel like you do it for one, but you don't. You do it for all. It's all related and the energy is flowing freely because your focus is on a goal that you all are, your all mindsets are going to take that walk.
I understand. Thank you for that. I just
So it's not to diminish the work, just to clarify, even if you do work with a singular being, you're working with that singular being as being a being of the whole, the
understood.
source.
Understood. Thank you very much for that. We do appreciate it every single time. We never take any of it for granted. And of course, for all those who are listening, we ask always that you discern everything you hear. Really try and feel this information with your heart. If it resonates with you, then that's really good. And the rest, just let it go. And Lars, I'd like you to go ahead and come back out of the pyramid, if you will, and just go back on the dais and just send some love to the people who came to see you.
I'm not longer there. I have passed that, and I did that. They were very much aware of what's going on,
Very
and
good.
many of them decided to follow us. They have the free will to follow us to another reality, and many of them did. Many was perceived to be almost extinct, but no, they just left.
Ah, very good.
I'm stepping out from it's like a pyramid, but it's not so high. There is like a altar in front of me. So it's like I am some kind of priest or something.
So you're coming out of the an entrance or an exit in a pyramid onto a big dais, you says?
It's an open place up on the pyramid, almost like they have in South America.
Okay.
And there are many, many people down on the ground level
Oh,
looking
very
at.
good. And just look at yourself. How is your form?
I'm feeling really strong. I'm feeling tall and muscular, but not fat, just very strong. And I have a robe with a hood on my head. And it's a long, wide robe in a very nice dark blue color. And it's inlay of gold in it. That's really beautiful robe.
Beautiful. And look at your feet and your hands and your skin color. Describe all three.
On my feet I have some kind of moccasins made out of leather or some kind of smooth skin. And then the robe is over the rest of my body, and I'm very dark in my skin, very dark, dark brown.
And if you
And
had to grab something, I'm sure you would use your hands. So just pull the robes back, and I just want you to give me a description of your hands and your form.
my hands are ordinary, but they are very big and powerful.
Excellent. And how about your head and your face inside the robe? How are they shaped?
Oh, I have big eyes, and I try to hide them under that cape, under that cover, for not frightening people.
Magically, if you look back where you came out of the pyramid, you will see a mirror, a reflection of you. Just turn to the mirror and give me a good descriptive of what you look like.
My head is pear shaped, is wider on the top and narrow. That was just eliminating them.
Understood. And was there also a technical removal, or was there a vibrational removal from these corrupt ones that were exploiting in power?
It was a technical removal in very big way, but also we have to energetically enforce the whole of the planet that has been held down to this low vibration to be able to, for the people to vibrate in the same rate as the planet they're receding on.
So if this was taking place in 1150, 12, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 1900s, 2000s. We're all the way in 2016. So that's 500, 600 years that this whole process is taking thus far.
No, 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 no. It started earlier with a decision, and they tried to negotiate with these aliens to freely remove from the planet.
For how
And that
long?
started about 800 years of your linear time ago. But then the transition or the transportation of these entities, these races, took just a couple of years to perform, because
Starting when?
starting 800 years ago, but the biggest part of that was done in just a couple of years, the transportation of these entities. But there were benevolent entities involved in this that were allowed to stay here and that are still here.
Okay, so just to be clear, 800 years ago it began, and it
Yes.
finished up with the majority of that removal 800 years ago, a long time ago, or not until recently within the past 100 years?
No, it was the most of the work was done in a linear time of 10 years. But after then, there was a lot of work to do with the energy level and the vibration. And that took a long, long time to restore uh, that vibration on your planet, because it has been gone on for a long time and in different timelines. It started long, long earlier than this, but we didn't interfere then because it was not known for us until this timeline what was
Understood.
going on.
Understood. So basically, this removal happened within the past 20 years of our linear expression.
Yes.
Okay, now that makes a huge, huge difference. Very good. Very, very good.
But you have to understand that different entity have tried to come back here and interfere in different level. They try to cooperate with your governments, but they didn't get down to a narrow chin. My mouth is little, my eyes are huge. And the color of my face doesn't match the color of my skin on the arms.
What color is your face?
It almost, it's almost very light blue color.
Well, no one will see you if you
No.
just take off the robe, just the head part, and just look at yourself really well, and then we'll put it back on and turn back into the scene in a moment.
Yeah. Uh, um, I'm sure I'm extraterrestrial because it doesn't look like the other people here. Um, there is other inside this pyramid that are the same race as I am, but they are still inside, have not yet stepped out. And I'm sure I recognize this form and entity. I've been have been in this incarnation before.
Is that when you were doing the plans to remove the drakes from the planet in
Yes,
that session? Is this that person you are?
yes.
Oh, very good. We had a desire to come back and re-meet with this character or this expression of yourself. So go ahead and put your robe back on your head, please. And
Yeah, it's like a hood.
the hood, I meant.
Yeah, it's integrated with the robe just to keep people from being afraid of my appearance.
I want you to take a long, slow, deep breath for me, please. And really feel yourself grounded into this scenario and connected to all the information that it may have to bear. And what is your role amongst the others coming out of this big pyramid? What are you there for?
I'm there for giving them technology to ease their way of living because they have been under control of other entities with not their highest intent in mind. They have been regulated by regulation that was come from other entities that wanted to control them.
And you have somehow freed them, or
Yes, I've been in a part of a big removal of that low density hold on this place and many other places on the planet, but I am located here for the moment.
and where are you right now? What country, what area of the planet, what dimension are you in?
They say Atacama.
Atudo, Akhenaten,
No, Atacama.
Atacama.
Atacama. It's almost like, and also they were also on a big island of, oh, that's Australia. They're showing me Australia.
Okay.
They was involved with manipulating the population there.
And how did you actually deport them or remove them from the planet? How was that done?
It was a decree that come from source that they had enough of what's going on here and decided to step in when it was first up on the agenda on many different councils, and they discuss how much to interfere. But we come to the conclusion that this was nothing that was manifested from the people on the planet. It was just a try to take over the resources of the planet that are plentiful here. They wanted to reach that. So they had no mercy or pity on the inhabitants. They just used them like slaves all over.
And so when they recognized that it wasn't the actual people of the planet who were sending out these negative vibrations throughout the universe, they realized that there were interlopers or those who have come in and corrupted and exploited the system, and that's how they were granted the opportunity and permission to come and to help
to interact, yes,
okay.
to clear out that.
So and area. How? Okay, I'm sorry. So how did they do it? How did they physically remove them? What was the procedure?
Many of them was physically disabled. Like we have entity in this community that have the power to take away your power of using your ability of manifestation and manipulation. So they took that power away and they had to obey. We came in a vast amount of entities from all over the universe into this time, this timeline on your planet, and they come from many places to help to transcend them into another reality where they no longer can do any harm. And yes, they were almost teleported off this planet. Some of them was allowed to stay on because they were used also like the entities on the planet. So they were not involved, they was just used to some kind of mercenary, but not out of free will. They tried to resist, but if they tried to resist, they were just killed. It's almost desert around here.
And what area of the world are you in? Are you in Northern Africa or are you in South America?
I can rise up and look.
Oh, very good. In the count of 5, 4, 3, halfway there, 2 almost there, and 1, you can see a large perspective of the planet below you and the dot where you were.
Yeah. I'm in the northern part of South America. I see the bridge of Central America going down where I am placed
very
now.
good.
Atacama. They call it Atacama.
Are you familiar with Teotihuacan?
No.
Very good. I'm just asking.
These people are from different tribes or different tribes.
And
they are collecting here because they have been under such tremendous stress, and they have been involved in war between themselves and also between themselves and other entities.
Are you talking about the people of that civilization there, or you as a species?
No, of the civilization has been very much in war and involved in very low density where they had no control over that.
And what time frame is this in our linear experience, please?
In 1152. 1152.
Oh, very good. And as you're on the this big balcony or dais coming off this huge pyramid, is that pyramid a structure that's there, or is it a vehicle?
It's a structure that was built from other entities to use in different way. But it can help you to levitate and transport information over vast areas around.
Throughout the world?
Yes.
And what
it was the way they communicated this entity that was trying to hold down the frequency on the planet, and they were involved in a lot of interference with different kind of people, humans around the world. They were in Asia, they were in old Egypt,